This podcast may contain adult themes and strong language.
You stepped onto the Busker's corner.
So we went on this long road trip, right? Mm-hmm. Packed everything into my little Ford Ranger, with the little cap on it. Stuffed it full of everything, right? Cats, guitars, whatever.
Hello, this is your host Robert, and in this episode we call Traveling Duos, you'll hear stories by and about performers traveling in pairs. Our first story is from a duo that call themselves the Salt Cedar Sadies. These ladies have traveled the country in both a pickup truck, but also driving an 18-wheeler. When they're not on the road, you will find Terri caring for horses and Donna writing an herbalist blog called Wild Lettuce. Please welcome to Busker's Corner, the Salt Cedar Sadies, Terri Norwood and Donna O'Donovan, in a story about traveling as a duo called Is This Corner Taken?
We went driving down the road. We went to North Carolina. It was great.
Introducing North Carolina. You know, they say there's nothing finer. And for a fact, you'll have to travel far to match the ever-changing pictorial beauty of the old North State.
We both used to live in North Carolina. Let's go into Asheville and busk. And we went in there, and even before we got downtown, we could just hear all these, a cacophony. Downtown Asheville isn't that big. There were more performers than there were pedestrians. Wow. I mean, we couldn't find any place. It was shoulder to shoulder, right? It was like there were so many people. It was hilarious. And we just said, well, we're not going to make any money today. So we go along and we see this guy, and he's sitting there with this beer and this typewriter. We're like, what are you doing, man? He's like, give me a word and I'll write you a poem. So we gave him a word. So he writes us a poem. And then his buddy comes and goes, hey, come on, man, I bought you another beer. So he was gone. Typewriter, his little desk.
Little stand right on the corner of the street.
Glass that he was drinking his first beer out of. Yeah. Dude was gone, right? We got our instrument.
That's right, we did.
Took his spot. We figured,
we sang a
Leonard.
We sang, what was that Leonard Cohen song we sang?
Oh, we sang, that's
Tower.
Right. We sang on the Tower of Song. But then this lady came by with all these children, and the baby was asleep, and they parked right in front of us. And so we stopped. We weren't going to wake the baby up. So we went up to this other place, and we kind of walked away from where everybody else was. And we stood on this corner, and there's this restaurant. And this maitre d' guy, he's looking at us like, oh, God. Just visually, gonna puke. He clearly hated buskers. And we were like, we needed money. We really need to make this work for at least $5,
And it was all open. It was an open courtyard where all the diners were like right up against the street. So he was disappointed with us.
So we freaking started playing anyway. We're just like, whatever. We played and people put money in our little jar. Well, we didn't have a jar. That was the problem that day. Because we learned a jar is a good thing. Because the wind blew.
Right.
And $1 flew out of our little whatever. I can't remember what we're using that day. Just $1. But damn it, and it flew out into this kind of trafficked street. And I was like, damn it, no, we need that freaking dollar. So I put down my guitar and I'm running out the traffic for this dollar.
Yeah, that was real.
And luckily a friend of mine was driving by and she stopped. She's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm chasing the dollar, man. Chasing the dollar. When we left, that same guy that was disdaining us, he was like, you ladies come back anytime you want.
It was super sweet.
I'm just paying my rent every day in the Tower of Song.
Thank you, Terri and Donna, for your story. Often while chasing the dollar as a busker, perseverance and charm gets you through, even when times are tough. Playing behind me now is Leonard Cohen. To see a full list of songs played in this episode, as well as links to all of our storytellers, please visit the show notes. Our next traveling duo has performed in more countries than anyone else I know. They play blues and ragtime, which you will hear throughout their story. They tell us about their troublesome first days in New Orleans in a story we call Nola Surprises. Please welcome Lone Bear and Georigia Ollier.
Alright, I'm Dino Lone Bear and I play guitar and harmonica and sing. I'm from Brazil, but now I live in Edinburgh, Scotland at the moment.
And I'm Georgia. I play the washboard with Lone Bear and a few other instruments as well. Currently learning the flute, which is fun. And I also play piano. Yeah, we travel around busking.
Yeah, well, I think New Orleans was one of the favorite places. It was hard because like the competition.
It was a little bit tiring as well because we'd have to arrive at 6 o'clock every night and then we'd stay there a full 6 hours because like it was
you had to hold the spot.
Yeah, had to hold the corner that we were playing on, which was okay, but I found that a little bit tiring just having to stay there for 6 hours every night.
It was fun when you had the spot to play. The first time we went to New Orleans was 2016, but that was the first impression there. It wasn't really good, to be honest. It was really hot and wasn't much going on because it was right in the summertime. Well, I had a problem with the police. There's a lot in New Orleans. There's a lot of problems, and I thought I've got to find some different spot where I don't need to go there 9 a.m. to hold this spot to start playing lunchtime. So I found this spot in the French market. We'd play in front of the bathrooms, the public toilets, and because there was a line there. So what? That's a good place because people are waiting there. And so it was a good spot. But after a while, some other people started playing there, and there was a specific cop that probably, I don't know if he didn't like me, but he said he would put me in jail if I played there again. say, yeah, you can get the license somewhere. And then I went there. I said, can I get this license? Yeah, there's no license here, but you can play there. I said, but there's this policeman. He said he's gonna put me in jail he's gonna arrest me if he see me again. He can't do that if he wants. Nothing we can do, but there's no license for that. So I just gave up the spot. It wasn't like a good impression, to be honest, the first time.
Gotta be street smart.
Yeah.
In all the senses.
It's gonna be the busking life in New Orleans, the interview. So this guy came and we were together. We were doing well, and he were looking at the case, and I had like the guitar case right beside me. It was like on the side because the sidewalk was narrow, and couldn't have the case right in front of me, the guitar case. So we put it on the side. So he came over and he was looking all the money. He just dropped this broken watch, and he grabbed like $10, and he just grabbed it. I stopped playing, and he still held his arm, and then he sort of just got away and put his hand in his pocket. We stopped playing. Say, hey, you got the $10 bill here, and we started having that. Started arguing. No, I didn't get the 10. I put some money there. I said, no, you got it. We had that arguing on the street there.
He got from his backpack, he got out a bottle of whiskey, and he opened it up and poured it out onto the street, and then held it up, and he realized that the bottle, as though he was going to, break it on the ground, but then he realized that the bottle was made of plastic.
And then he got really angry because
he lost his whiskey, and then he couldn't even hit us with it.
Yeah, he was really angry. He gave the money back. Look, and he still saying, but I put $5 there. I got the 10, but I put 5. I want my money back. I said, no, you didn't put. We made him. He gave the $10, but then at the end he was angry. This friend came over and helped, and so he left. But we stopped busking because the energy just dropped. But we still got the $10 back, and he lost his whiskey, and he still has some coins that he lost everything. So I just gave up the spot and said, that's the time to leave New Orleans. It can be a fun place, but you can get in trouble there a lot.
Thank you, Lone Bear in Georgia. Not always do street performers get hassled by both cops and robbers. And just a reminder, our show is uncensored. You may encounter some adult language. Our next guest is a man of many talents and many names. He is one of our favorite performers who electrifies the stage, but he's also a visual artist and comic book creator. A singer-songwriter, you'll hear his band, the Imperial Rooster, playing throughout his story. Here's Nat King Kong, a.k.a. Sick Rick, or otherwise known as Enrique Martinez, with a story we call It's All Uphill From Here.
Yeah, I only busked once in my life. It didn't go too well. I definitely learned something though, which is pretty cool because I never knew this fact, and I learned it the hard way, and that was pretty educational. Okay, my name is Enrique Martinez, also known as Sick Rick or Nat King Kong of the Imperial Rooster. The Imperial Rooster was a collective of musicians from all walks of life that decided to get together and form an old-timey band. We didn't know what that meant necessarily. We kind of just did it at the right time. It seemed to be kind of like a genre that was gaining a lot of momentum. We took off pretty quick. Like, we started getting some pretty high profile gigs right off the bat, and we're like, wow, we really have something here. And we played probably for about 2 to 3 years before the story takes place. Me and Tennessee Skilly McGee, who was also in the Imperial Rooster, we had a side project called T. Skilly Apocalyptic Radio Hour. We were like frantic songwriters at the time, and the Rooster couldn't keep up with it, so we started putting out these weird, fucked up songs that we would record on whatever mic we could find, usually a really shitty one. We kind of like that lo-fi, like punk rock type sound. I always thought like busking is such a romantic idea, and we were always thinking like that would be really cool to try that. And we just had delusions of grandeur, of course. So we thought it would be this glorious thing where we just start playing and people just start throwing money at us. And I imagine that's what everybody thinks is gonna happen. I think we even wore like stupid clothes. Like, we got really dressed up, and we thought we were gonna be the men. We just thought we were gonna kill. Skilly was wearing a top hat and a trench coat, looking all scraggly and ramshackly. I think I had on like t-shirt and a sport coat and cargo shorts and some silly fedora or something, looking ridiculous. We got a wild hair up our ass and decided today's the day, and we packed up the guitar, and I think I had a harmonica or something, and made the trek up to Santa Fe. Our whole goal was to play this one song in front of the big Catholic cathedral in the middle of the plaza. We started playing. I know we needed we were supposed to get a permit, but we didn't think it applied to us. We were like, yeah, nah, we're just gonna go and start playing. If they tell us to stop, we'll just leave. We just started playing, and of course there was hardly anybody there, and it didn't seem like people walking by give a shit too much. And I of course, we probably sounded really obnoxious. And we played maybe like 2 or 3 songs without like any recognition at all by people passing us by, or we were like, oh, well, let's just take it on the road. And we started walking around trying to sing these songs. So we walked around singing songs, and when we had enough, we kind of just went over there, and we were doing it for probably an hour. And I don't think we made 1 fucking cent. And we went in front of the cathedral, and we played the song Pine Box Hell that we wrote together. And yeah, no one gave a shit at all. We just kind of packed up our shit and said, that's probably the last time we'll ever do that.
Yes, it's all downhill from here.
It was pretty brutal to our egos, but maybe we needed that at the time. The big takeaway that I took away was that fucking singing and walking is fucking hard, and literally no one gave a fuck at all. That's the hardest thing I've ever done.
Sometimes shit don't work out. Sometimes shit don't work. It's okay if shit don't work out, 'cause other shit's working just fine.
Thanks, Rick. Singing and walking is fucking hard. I agree. I think they just weren't prepared for your brilliance that day. The world needs to step it up a bit. So there it is, the end of this episode of Busker's Corner, called Traveling Duos, with a story of persevering and overcoming obstacles, a story of being streetwise, and a story of a rooster counting his eggs before they've hatched. You can find everyone's info in the show notes, and we hope that you will. Please remember to tip the street performers in more than just a smile, and please join us next time for more true tales from the world of busking. But for now, you've stepped off the Busker's Corner.